Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't already know, this is the Everything Podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Everything Podcast, episode 27. Coming to you live from beautiful Delray Beach. It's a little cloudy today. It is 12:43 p.m. And I got to a little bit of a late start today because if you didn't know, today's Destiny beta day, at least for me, because I have an Xbox, so I get to play the beta today. PlayStation users got to play it yesterday. And I got tortured all day yesterday by my PlayStation friends sending me pictures and videos about how much they're enjoying playing the beta. And now here I am. I was trying to get all this done earlier, and I couldn't seem to. I didn't want to rush myself. I had plenty of time. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to play the beta at 1 o'clock because I have to we'll have to edit, upload, and promote. So I'll probably be playing that shit maybe at 2 o'clock. But who knows? It might not even be that soon. But anyway, I'm totally going somewhere else with this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your glorious host, Lou from the BX, a.k.a. Dominican Lou, a.k.a. Louis Balboa, a.k.a. your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. And you are listening to the Everything Podcast, as you already know. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining me on another glorious episode. I appreciate you. I care for all of you. Marvel, where is my fucking Infinity War trailer? God damn it. Still waiting. Sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick thank you to everyone who's been liking and subscribing and sending me iTunes reviews. I highly appreciate that. Big ups to all of you. Big ups to the podcast network we got going on. You guys are teaching me a lot, showing me a lot, and I'm learning as I go, as you all very well know. So, thank you all very much. You guys keep up the good work yourselves, and let's keep this whole thing going. Let's keep it crackalating. So thank you guys very much for the ratings. Thank you for the likes and the picture likes and the guys who are commenting back and forth on the stupid shit that I post all the time. I appreciate all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a milestone this past week. We had a milestone on the Everything Podcast. We reached 3,000 downloads. 3,000 people. Now, I don't want to say 3,000 people because that's not accurate. But my podcast has been clicked on over 3,000 times and downloaded and listened to. Whether you listened to it for 30 seconds or you played the whole episode and enjoyed it, or you played the whole episode and didn't enjoy it. Either way, I just want to thank you for helping me achieve that milestone. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that anyone would want to hear me 3,000 times. But thank you so much for proving me wrong. And again, the podcast network, I just want to let you guys know that this week, if you listen to the Get It Off Your Chest podcast, I make an appearance on that podcast this week via the phone lines. If you don't listen to the Get It Off Your Chest podcast, you're fucking up, because I highly suggest you check them out. Those dudes are going places. They are extremely professional. They've got a great rapport. They put on a great show, and they keep it 100 with their fans, and it's really cool to see that. So I would definitely, if you're not listening to them, I would recommend checking them out. If you're into sports, it's a very sports oriented podcast. So if you like sports, then it should be for you. So I make an appearance on that one this week. Obviously, today's Wednesday, and today is Stick to Sports. I'll be doing my Stick to Sports experience tonight. I was working on a Sports Minute, but I don't want to just make Sports Minutes just to make them and upload them. I prefer quality over quantity. So if I don't have anything I feel like is worth, or of value, I don't get the motivation to do it. So although I had an idea for one, it looks like I'm not going to be able to get it done because I just don't have the time, and I don't want to send it off today where I'm sure that they're doing a bunch of stuff to get ready for their show, and now they have to figure out my Sports Minute and edit it and put my name in and all that crap. So it'll just be me and my plain old self. And if I do get on, because there's always a chance that the lines are busy, but I've been on I think I've done the last 7 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. 6 or 7 episodes in a row. So pretty exciting. I am a big fan of that show. I love being on that show. So yeah, I'll be on there again tonight. Another little thing I wanted to mention to you guys is that you might have noticed, if you follow me on iTunes, you might have noticed some pods appeared on there and then disappeared and then reappeared with different kind of title. So I joined Bumpers FM, which is a seriously cool podcast app that is on iOS only. I think they're working on an Android app. You can sign up via Android, but you won't be able to do much else besides sign up for an account. I think you might be able to listen to... Yeah, you can listen to some of the bumpers that are on there, which are mini podcasts. And you can listen to them, but I don't think you can really participate in it because it doesn't really work too well with Android. But now that I'm on iOS, I have it. I have the app. I'm on there. I've recorded a couple bumpers and I put them on there. And I'm pretty happy with that app. To be quite honest with you, the pre-show episodes, I may end up doing just on that app because it's just so much more convenient for me to just have it all on one device. I can edit it, add things to it, enhance it, and upload it right from my phone. I don't even need this slow-ass, gimpy-ass laptop that I have here or Audacity. So it's pretty cool. The podcast is not going to migrate over to that app because I just can't see myself doing that. But as far as me sitting in my car waiting for my wife to come out of some store and me recording random thoughts or reactions, or again, earlier I wanted the Marvel to give us the trailer. When that Infinity trailer does drop, the Infinity War, I can't even talk, and when I think about that I just get way too excited. So when that Infinity War trailer does drop, I am not going to watch it immediately, even though I want to. I am going to set myself up here at my desk. I am going to put it on the computer, and I'm going to set up a live feed, and I am going to record on bumpers my reactions to that trailer, and I will give you my thoughts on it. So that will be on bumpers. Now, you don't need to go ahead and download the Bumpers app because I've migrated it into the iTunes account, as I said earlier. So if you've noticed a couple of those things, they're just like 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 1 minute. Por ahí, that's not taking over the podcast. It's not, nothing is changing as far as the podcast goes. Those are just extra bumpers that I'm going to put out there to be listened to. So if you don't have the Bumpers app, don't worry about it. You don't need it because I will, every time I record one of those, I will upload it to iTunes. So, if you're on Bumpers, you'll see it immediately. But if you're not on Bumpers, on iTunes, you'll see it the next day. So just a little heads up, just to let you guys know. Those are little things that have been going on lately. So today's topics, I'm going to give you. I want to talk to you today. I got some fuck shit for you guys, but I do want to get a little more serious because sports are kind of like winding down right now. The Yankees just made a trade last night, but like I said last episode, I'm not really a big baseball guy, so if you want to know more about that, you're going to have to Google it. But today I want to talk to you about Jason Jordan, the Knicks. I want to talk to you about this Doctor Who casting, and then later on in the show I want to talk to you guys about Khaloud, the model, and I want to talk about R. Kelly a little bit. So I kind of got a lot to talk about today. I have a lot of things to say about these topics, so why don't we just go ahead and get into this motherfucker right now.
Hi, I'm Chuck.
And I'm Steve. We host a comedy podcast called Geek Life Crisis.
Geek Life Crisis.
Geek Life Crisis may include current geek news,
Feats of strength,
off-the-cuff impersonations,
on-the-fly song parodies,
laughs, movie reviews,
potato references,
inside joke,
self-deprecating humor coupled with stinging sarcasm.
We also use the sword sound clip a lot.
Do you like interviews? Well, we got those too. What's your deal? Should we interview you?
Each episode, we present a celebrity birthday quiz, and the
celebrities love it.
Geek Life Crisis.
When a celebrity shuffles off from this mortal coil, you can be sure we'll crank out our trademark-pending RIP celebrity tribute roast, where you'll probably always ask yourself,
too soon?
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and at geeklifecrisis.com.
Follow us on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Tumblr, and the Instagram. May cause drowsiness, dizziness, vomiting, the need for speed, moonwalking, or an urge to write country songs.
Geek Life Crisis.
Puerto Rico, oh, 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 Puerto Rico.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Everything Podcast. Shout out to Chuck and Steve of the Geek Life Crisis podcast. Definitely check those guys out. I want to thank them for that promo that they did for me. It is fantastic. Fits the show very well. So shout out to Chuck and Steve from the Geek Life Crisis podcast. You can check them out on iTunes. And if anybody else out there is interested in having a promo played on the Everything Podcast, you can hit me up at theepodcastshow@gmail.com. As far as the promos go, there's no filter. What I would like is just for you to, promote yourself, say who you are, say what your show's about, what you like to talk about. There's no time limit on the promo. I mean, obviously don't go 10 minutes, but, usually a promo is about 30 seconds to 50 seconds, so that's perfectly fine. It really shouldn't take you any more time than that anyways. And, you have to just promote yourself. Don't mention my podcast in any way, shape, or form. Just promote yourself and send it to me at the email, and I will play that shit on my show for you. I have no issues with that. So, again, at theepodcastshow@gmail.com is the email you want to send that to. Or hit me up on there if you're just curious about more promo stuff. Or if you want a promo for me, just if I haven't heard your show before, it's going to take me a minute because I want to at least listen to 1 or 2 episodes of your show and then cut the promo for it. That's what we're doing out here. Big things, podcast network. Teamwork make dream work, baby. So, let me just get this Jason Jordan thing out of the way. So, I know there's not a lot of you out there who watch wrestling, but I feel like I have to talk about this because this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever fucking seen. And me being a fan of wrestling, as you know, I watch it every week. I watch the pay-per-views. I pay for the network. I am just a nigga that loves wrestling, if you don't already know. And this past week, okay, so let me just start from the beginning. So WWE has been, there was a separation of the brands. So now there's basically 2 shows. There's actually 3 shows, but we won't talk about 205 Live. There's SmackDown and there's Monday Night Raw. Separate people are on both shows. So whatever happens on one show has nothing to do with the other anymore. They're 2 separate things. It's like 2 different shows. So I primarily like to watch Monday Night Raw. So on Monday Night Raw, WWE for the past few weeks, probably a month or 2, have been teasing some kind of like life-changing, grand revelation that Kurt Angle is supposed to release. Obviously, if you haven't watched in a while, you're a former WWE person, or you don't really know what it is, I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. But if you've watched from back in the day, you know who Kurt Angle is. Yes, he's back. He's now the general manager of the show, so he pops in and out, makes matches, makes backstage skits and all that shit. Eventually, he's probably going to end up wrestling Triple H or whatever at WrestleMania. At least that's what I think is going to happen. But because he still got it, he can still wrestle. And so he's back on the show. He's the general manager. He's basically the face of the show. And for the past few weeks or months, he's been acting very strange, taking weird phone calls in the middle of the show, alluding to some kind of event that's going to, destroy his family. It's going to ruin his career if this gets out. What's going to happen to me? I can't let this get out. If everybody finds out about this, it's going to ruin me. And he's been going on and on about that for the past few weeks. One of the announced team, his name is Corey Graves. He's a former NXT wrestler. He got injured. He had to retire early, so now he does announcing. He's really good. He became part of this angle where he was also receiving text messages from the person who knew about this event. So they would be, the announced team would be sitting there trying to promote something, and Corey Graves would just take his headset off, get up, and walk away, and leave Michael Cole and Booker T there going, where are you going? And that's something, it kind of made it cool because that's not something that regularly ever happens. Whenever you see the announced team on camera, they're doing the cheesy fake smiling, and they're sitting there smiling while one person's talking about some movie trailer or whatever video package they're about to show you to promote something. So for somebody to just walk up and leave, it's like, whoa, what the hell is going on? So that happened quite a few times where he would just look at his phone, have a concerned look on his face, he'd get up, he'd walk off, then he'd go in the back with Kurt Angle, and Kurt go, did you get that message that I got? And he go, yeah, I got it. And he's like, what am I going to do? Oh my God, this is going to ruin me if it gets out. This is going to destroy my family. And Corey Graves would be like, no, it's okay, don't worry, everybody loves you, and this, as long as you get this out first, it's not going to hurt you. So, they kind of built this thing up, and this was over a few weeks, and they like hyped this thing up like as a super event. Like, it became a big deal. Like, Corey Graves constantly leaving, abruptly, Kurt looking so petrified. There were rumors that, because back in the day he did an angle where he kissed Stephanie McMahon, so people were like, oh, he's going to end up that him and Stephanie had a relationship, and they possibly had a baby or whatever. And, there were all these rumors out there. No one really knew what was going on. And then last week, he said he was finally going to come clean next week on Raw. Of course, because he can't do it right there when he's talking to the camera. He has to wait until next week. So they made this whole big thing about he's going to make this announcement. He's going to come clean, and whatever happens, happens. And at the end of last week's episode, he was on the phone with the person, supposedly, that he was going to make this revelation about. And he's like, it's okay, we're going to be fine. Just remember that I love you. Yada, yada, yada. So it kind of left you like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? So he comes out this week. Corey Graves was being super supportive. Like, he's telling him, it's okay, it's going to be fine. Just go out there, tell the truth. No one's going to judge you. Yada, yada, yada. So you kind of want to know what's going on. So Kurt Angle finally comes out. He walks to the ring. They do the "You Suck" chant, which is now a show of respect, which I don't understand that either. But he comes out to the ring. He's visibly, he's smiling, but you can tell his face is red. He's been, kind of looks like he's been crying. Walks to the ring, gets in the ring, thanks the crowd, thanks them for the support, gets right into it. Tries to rally the crowd. He talks about when he was younger, and he's been a superstar for so many years, and when he started his career in high school and college. So then he says, while he was in college, he ran through some girl in college. He said it a little more eloquently than I will, but basically he went to college, he ran through some girl in college a few times, she got knocked up, and she put the kid up for private adoption. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Put the kid up for private adoption. The kid was adopted by a very nice family who taught the child great American values. This child went on to become a triple triple sport athlete. And when he turned 18, he found out he was adopted, did some investigating, found out who the mother was, and the mother told him who the father was. and why she gave him up for adoption. She was very young. Kurt Angle had disappeared. She didn't know how to get in touch with him. She didn't want to ruin his life because he was going off into the Olympics. So she kept it a secret, put the child up for adoption in a private auction. Not an auction, that's a bad word to use. In a private adoption thing. So she knew who the kid went to. And the kid found out who his father was. He was inspired by the fact that his father was an Olympic athlete and decided to follow in his footsteps. So he decided to start wrestling. Eventually he ends up in WWE, in NXT, and then from then on he ends up on the main roster. Mind you, he's explaining this, and the crowd is fucking dead for this segment. Completely dead. Silence. Kurt Angle starts crying. He says he's very proud of this young man, and he's very excited to announce that his son is none other than Jason Jordan, half of the tag team American Alpha. Music hits. Crowd is visibly what the fucked. Like, it's not even like a oh yay or boo. It's just like, what? Because you have to okay, well, let me finish this. Jason Jordan walks out, nice suit, big smile on his face, walks to the ring. Kurt Angle is bawling like a fucking 5-year-old girl at a Justin Bieber concert. He's crying his eyes out. Jason Jordan walks into the ring, goes under the ropes, stands in the ring. They stare at each other, and then they hug. Kurt Angle loses it. He starts crying. He grabs Jason Jordan's hand. He puts his hand in the air like if he just won the WWE title. And Jason Jordan says absolutely nothing. Those were the last words spoken. And on this whole segment, they stand there. He's got his hands in the air. And then they leave the fucking ring. And then they cut over to the announce team. And they're just reacting to this. Corey Graves is there. He says, I've known all along. Jason Jordan is my longtime friend. He told me a long time ago. He confided in me. And I'm glad this is out now so we can all get past this. That's what they built up to this whole time. Now, this is my issue with this thing. So, first of all, and obviously no one believes me, but I've been saying that this guy, this kid, is going to be the next Kurt Angle. I've been saying that since the first time I saw him in NXT, before Kurt Angle even came back to WWE. I said, this guy's going to be the next Kurt Angle. If you like wrestling, he's a little green, but this kid, he's got the look, he's got the physique, he's got the moves, he doesn't get hurt, he's got the personality, he's awesome. He's like a mix of Kurt Angle and Shelton Benjamin together. He's really, really, really talented, this guy. And so is his tag team partner, which, by the way, when this was announced, his tag team partner went on Twitter and he wrote, what? With question marks, because I guess they didn't tell him what the fuck is going on. Or, I mean, that would be ignorant of me to think that they didn't tell him. He probably knew, but I just thought that was a funny tweet. But this is a dead angle. Like, if this is the problem with this. So now, it doesn't matter what Jason Jordan does. As long as he's a face, he's going to be stuck with this stigma of being Kurt Angle's son. So, if the crowd doesn't get behind this thing, he's just either going to get booed, or he's just not going to get any reaction, which is probably worse than getting booed, because at least if you're getting booed, you're getting a reaction. So now he's going to have this thing where it's always going to be, you're Kurt Angle's son. You're Kurt Angle's son. Just like Kane is always The Undertaker's brother, Christian is always Edge's brother. Which those angles are a little more, they're whatever brothers. It's fine. You can play off of that, but this guy has to carry this forever. Like, oh, Kurt Angle's my dad. I'm a second generation superstar. Like, I don't think this has ever really been done to this point where, because, you know, McMahon did the whole my son, one of the superstars is my son thing, and he was doing DNA tests and all this shit, and it turned out fucking the midget Hornswoggle was his son or something. So this stigma is going to be with Jason Jordan, like, for the rest of his career. The only way I can see that he can basically get out of it is if he turns heel, and he's like, I just, you know, I lied, I faked the DNA test or whatever, just so that I can, you know, I can make it a high profile debut, whatever. They can do something where he fakes it and he breaks Kurt Angle's heart. He's like, I'm not actually your son. I lied. I faked the DNA results. I was just trying to get myself out there, yada, 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 and now I'm out there, so whatever. And that can actually be a good heel turn if they decide to go that route. But if they don't do that, and he has to stick with this I'm Kurt Angle's son thing for the rest of his career, it's going to tank. There's going to be there's no coming back from that. It was just a silly angle. And I keep saying angle when it's Kurt Angle, and it probably sounds repetitive, but it's just such a stupid, like, Attitude Era-esque way to go with this thing. And it kind of seems like they're trying to go back to the Attitude Era a little bit with, like, things they're doing, like, in the last pay-per-view that they just had, Roman Reigns fucking tried to kill this guy he's wrestling, Braun Strowman, he threw him in the back of an ambulance, and he rammed the back of the ambulance into a semi, and fucking they had to get the jaws of life to get this guy out of there, and he was covered in blood, and it's like, that is so Attitude Era shit. And last week, the Drifter is the guy's name. I forget his name right now. It escapes me. The Drifter, I forget his name, but he was wrestling Finn Balor, and he plays a guitar, and he did the old fucking Jeff Jarrett El Kabong guitar over the top of the head thing. Finn Balor was busted open because I think he hit it wrong. He was split open on the side of his head completely. They kept showing it on camera, and he's literally split open. So they seem to be like trying to go back to Attitude Era, because I think they've noticed that this whole PG thing has kind of run its course. I don't really think it's been working out too well for them. So that was that. I thought it was pretty silly. And the fact that Jason Jordan has been in NXT this whole time, and, you know, this is what they choose to do with the guy. First of all, he was on SmackDown, so now they just bring him up to Raw. They break that tag team up completely. Not that they were doing anything with that tag team anyway. Last week, Chad Gable had a singles match. I guess that was a tryout for this whole thing to see how he did, and he's actually phenomenal. So, like, he's going to be a single star now. Jason Jordan's going to be a single star now, and they just broke up one of the best tag teams there's ever been in WWE. I don't know what this obsession is with WWE with breaking up tag teams, but it seems to be something that they like to do. So, hold on, guys. I have to, if you don't mind, 1 second. I have to send my wife my Voodoo password so that she can watch Voodoo at work. Isn't that nice? Isn't that lovely? I wish I could watch Voodoo at work and just sit there and watch that movies and things all day long, and just, yeah, that'd be cool. So anyway, guys, I want to talk to you about the Knicks today, because what would the Everything Podcast be without Knicks talk? I keep saying I don't want to keep talking about them, but I can't seem to stop, and they can't seem to stop. So they actually have done something good. They've hired a new general manager finally. So real quick, let me just give you some quick shots of this, because I do not want to spend too much time talking about this fucking team. So Steve Mills has been promoted to president of basketball operations, first of all. Now, in him doing that, we needed a new GM. So they decided to hire Scott Perry from the Sacramento Kings to become the GM. Now, this guy is very well respected. He's got great connections within the league. He did a really fantastic job with the Kings, because actually, to be honest with you, if you ask around, the Kings were actually more dysfunctional than the Knicks were. And he went in there and he really cleaned it up. He got them some great draft picks. And they actually didn't really want to let him go, but they felt like they were holding him there. So they allowed him to leave the Knicks. They took a second-round draft pick, I think in 2018, which hopefully we'll get something back for that because we can't be giving up draft picks. But anyway, we needed a GM. They went out and they found their guy. They were having discussions with that dude from Cleveland before, but I wasn't too fond of him, so not even enough to remember his name. So we have a new general manager. Portland seems to now be eyeing Carmelo Anthony, but I don't buy that for a second. Carmelo is not going to Portland. Carmelo's going to Houston, okay? Now it comes out that Carmelo is uninterested in returning. He doesn't even want to talk to the Knicks. He doesn't want to talk to the Knicks. He just says, I don't want to talk to anybody there. Just trade me. That's literally what he said. Now, from my sources say, like I have sources. My sources say, multiple sources are reporting that Carmelo Anthony... sorry. Carmelo Anthony, so apparently it's been said that before Chris Paul even came to Houston, him and Carmelo have colluded to make sure that they play together this next coming season. So Chris Paul was telling Carmelo basically, yo, I'm going to Houston. I'm pushing for that trade to go over there. If that happens, I need you over here. Because to be honest with you, he kind of left a really good situation in the Clippers. And he didn't really improve by going to Houston. I mean, if you look at it laterally, it's almost the same. But I wouldn't say it's better because you have James Harden. But I mean, I really don't think that's better than the Clippers team. But if you add Melo, now you got something. So it seems like they colluded before anything even happened. And it's just, that seems to be the way to go. And it just needs to fucking get done already. Because I'm tired of reading all those little bullshit articles with Melo. And he's saying this. And the other one saying that. And they asked, I believe they asked Mills if there was any, if waiving Melo is on the radar at all. Like, is there any plans on waiving Melo if he cannot be traded? And he just looked at them and he said, no. That's beautiful. That is a good thing. That is great. Because if we do that, not only are we going to be paying Melo the next 2 years, you're getting hit with taxes and fees until 2019. That's what got Phil fired. Phil got fired because that was the last fucking straw. They were like, yo, so you're just going to try to waive Melo and we're going to have to pay this guy on top of that and we're going to lose him for nothing? You got to get the fuck out of here. So I'm so glad that they did that. They dropped the flex bomb on Phil Jackson and I'm so glad they did that. I'm still so happy about that. So Phil, he got the fuck out of here. And that was due to him trying to waive Melo. So the Knicks seem to be going in an upward direction. I'm not going to get too excited. You know what I'm saying? They had a very vanilla press conference, which is good. They didn't promise the world. They didn't come out with a big name and say, this is the next savior of the New York Knicks. They just came out with Steve Mills. They came out with Scott Perry. Hornacek was there. And basically what they said was, we are going to embrace pride, work ethic, and accountability, and particularly those kinds of things, because that is what we believe New York Knicks fans expect. That is a good thing. That is a very, very, very good thing. Perry said that he's going to have meetings with everyone in the organization, from the coaches all the way down to the maintenance workers, to get a picture of what we are and what we stand for. That is a good thing. A very, very, very good thing. So, we still have Porzingis. Rose is gone, which means I don't have to burn all my Knicks shit, which is really, really good. It's fantastic. And Melo seems to be out the door. And he's also stating that he doesn't want to come back. He wants nothing to do with coming back or talking to anybody. So, I got to tell you, right now, the Knicks are in good position to, start this whole rebuild process, which I'm totally down for. I'm totally down for a youth movement. I'm down for a rebuild because it's just Melo has to go. Melo must go, and he will go, and it has to be before training camp, and he just has to go. He's too complacent. The guy, Melo is, one thing about Melo that always pissed me off was when he's playing and he shoots a three or he bricks a three and he just smiles. He's just smiling. Yeah, it's hilarious. I missed the shot. It's so funny. Those things drove me up the wall with Melo. Like, I couldn't stand that shit. And it just shows like that's not the type of competitor you want to have on your team. Like, that's just not. No, you don't. It's not the kind of person you want. For as many highlights as Melo's had, I just that in particular just drove me crazy. Like, Melo's that dude. He's literally too Melo. Melo's that dude, like, driving in the HOV lane 45 miles an hour. He's the dude in the left lane on the highway doing 45, and everybody behind him is going insane trying to cut around him because he's just too Melo. And I'm just glad he's going. And this thing with people saying like, oh, Melo's loved by the teammates. Melo's beloved by the teammates. And his teammates love him and whatever. Okay, so if his teammates love him so bad, where are all these free agents at? Where have all the free agents been the past 3 years? Who has been breaking their neck to try to come play with Melo? Who? I'll wait. Oh, nobody. Because there is nobody. Nobody was trying to come to play here. Nobody was trying to come to New York. Nobody was taking less money to come play with New York to start the process. He's like, if I go over there and I go with Melo, then, we'll get another person over here. Nobody did that. Nobody. You want it one more time? Nobody. I know one person in particular feels a certain kind of way about this. I know Malini's hot.
I'm hot right now, kid.
Malini's hot. I'm hot. Everybody's hot. These Knicks, Melo needs to go. Hopefully, it happens sooner than later. And finally, Charlie Rosen, who is the notorious Knick hater / Phil apologist, wrote this huge article, and he completely shit on the Knicks in every way, shape, or form. He shit on the press conference. He shit on the way we went about getting rid of Phil. It was another one of those, like, pro-Phil, pro-anti-Nick. I don't know if that's even a word, pro-anti-Nick article. Charlie Rosen, you need to go back to licking Phil's ass. That's what you need to do. Nobody cares about you. Nobody wants to fucking hear about you. Nobody gives a shit. Alright? This guy swears like his opinion matters. Like, Phil, and it's not that, it's not exactly like this news was out there, but Phil would go to this guy and have him, give him little information and shit, give him his little opinions about things that happening, like as far as Melo and I'm not saying, and I was just shitting on Melo a second ago, but I'm not sitting here saying, that Melo is an angel or whatever, because obviously I have my issues with Melo, but that doesn't mean that what Phil did to him was right, and that was another reason why, they had to get fucking Phil out of here. Because he just constantly threw these little darts at Melo and these little jabs. But he would do it on Twitter. And then he would tell Charlie Rosen to fucking say some of these things. And then he would write these articles. And it's obvious that in the things that he said, it was obvious that Phil was the one saying these things. Like, as much as I love this team, I'm like fucking... Sometimes I just get sick of death, sick to fucking death of this team. I just, the Yankees, you look at the Yankees, and they just made a trade, and they picked up these players to make themselves better. And it's like such a Yankees move, because it's like a steal that the players they got. I don't know them offhand, because I'm not that familiar with baseball. But from everything that I've read about it and I heard on sports radio this morning, everybody's jumping for joy. You know, it's not going to push them into the championship, but it definitely made them better. And it's such a Yankees move. Like, they do things to make themselves better. They broke the team down, and they spent a couple years, like, they weren't even that bad. They were like, they didn't make the playoffs. They almost made the playoffs last year. Like, they made a big push, but then they kind of just fell apart at the end because they just didn't have all the tools. But at least they were almost there. And now look at them. They built their farm system up. They got Aaron Judge taking over the league. And now they just made this trade last night. And now they've built up a nice solid team. And all they're going to do is continue to make it better. That's what I want from the Knicks. That's all I want from them. And it would be wonderful if this is the start of that. I would just really... Nothing would make me happier in my sports life. I don't want to say in my life because that's wild. That's a wild thought. That's a wild thought. I can't believe I even thought that. Nothing would make me happier in my sports life than for the Knicks to be really, really good. So, come on, Knicks. Let's go. Because of a lot of our fans...
I'm hot right now, kid.
A lot of our fans are pretty hot. So, let's get it. This is the Everything Podcast. I will be right back.
Outspoken got the flavor.
So, I want to talk about Doctor Who. Doctor Who? Doctor Who. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this show. I am familiar with the show. I do not watch this show because I am not a huge fucking nerd. So, I tried watching this show, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. Not for me. Not, you know, I like the things that I like. I'm not the type of person to just jump on what everybody else is on just because I want to be down or I want to be in the conversation, because I don't do that. I just like to watch what I want to watch. And if something grabs my interest, I'll watch it. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I don't like it and then I decide that I like it, that's my prerogative. So I don't watch The Walking Dead. I don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch Stranger Things or whatever else is popping. I'm not trying to be different. I just don't. I'm not one to be part of the general conversation, you know. So Doctor Who is a very, very, very extremely popular show among these fucking nerds that are out there. And I'm obviously being facetious. It's a joke. I don't mean to insult anybody. I shouldn't even have to say that. Seeing how this is the most non-PC podcast of the PC era, I shouldn't have to apologize for shit. But in any event, Doctor Who is a show from BBC made for fucking nerds. And it was just announced on Sunday that there's a new Doctor. I guess forgive me if I say something wrong here, because I obviously don't know. Every season of the show, I believe, is a new Doctor or something like that, or maybe it's a couple seasons. I don't know how it works, but the Doctor is a character who's an alien, and it regenerates and becomes another form, but it's still Doctor Who, and he goes time traveling and gets in adventures and all that other kind of shit. So it was just announced on Sunday that they've announced a new Doctor, and the new Doctor, did I write this correctly? Is Jodie Whittaker? Yes, I believe, if I can read my own handwriting here. Jodie Whittaker would be taking up the mantle of Doctor Who, becoming the 13th Doctor and the first woman to play this role. She had to come out and say, "Do not be afraid of my gender. This is a really exciting time. I'm beyond excited, and it is more than an honor." And there was immediate backlash from the Dude Bros, which before I even get on this, let me just give the fucking flex bomb to the Dude Bros out there who can't handle their own fucking... They're so afraid of their own fucking sexuality and masculinity that they can't handle a woman being Doctor Who. So there was immediate backlash from the Dude Bros on the internets. And I'm going to read you a couple of things that I read on Twitter that were said in regards to Jodie Whittaker becoming the new Doctor Who. Nobody wants a TARDIS full of bras. The BBC are trying to brainwash your children. Time travel is for men and men only. Political correctness should not exist in space. And there's one tweet in particular by someone who I actually want to say their Twitter name on this show, so that hopefully one of you out there gets at this person and lets them know. This person's name is Darren Pop, and their Twitter handle is capital D, capital X, _ the number 1. And he writes his thoughts on this subject as the following. There's really no fucking need. The Doctor is a male. How is it fashionable to make characters female is utter shit. That's actually what he wrote. It's nonsensical. It's ignorant. And he's a scared little boy. The BBC said they had to actually make a fucking statement about this because there was so much backlash. The Doctor is an alien from the planet Gallifrey, and it is established in the show Time Lords that the Doctor changes genders. All I have to say about this is get the fuck out of here, you fucking nerds. I don't understand, like, you know, and I'll be the first one to tell you. It really bothers me when, and maybe this is the same thing, and maybe I'm not, I don't know. I'm just going to speak my mind here. I do really get irritated, for instance, when Marvel Comics decides to change characters that I've loved for all this time and just randomly decide that Falcon is now going to be Captain America, that the Hulk is now going to be Amadeus Cho, that Iron Man is now going to be Riri Williams, which actually I didn't even really mind that one, because she's not taking over the mantle of Iron Man, and Tony Stark didn't have a sex change and become a woman. It's a different character. So I don't even really, that's a bad example. I don't really have a problem with that. But there have been instances where like Thor loses his powers, and they make, now Thor is Jane Foster, so she takes the mantle of Thor. Now Thor is just, it's a power more than it is a person. It's whoever holds the hammer becomes Thor, just like Beta Ray Bill did, just like Eric Masterson did. So, I mean, maybe that's another bad example. But I did at points become irritated when they decided to take characters and completely change them. The Totally Awesome Hulk thing bothers me. The Falcon Cap didn't really bother me too much because I like Falcon, especially now when they made him actually cooler in the movies. And Cap was still out there doing his thing, so it's not like he was replaced. But, like, in this case, this is the first time that they've made the woman a doctor. I don't know why it took them that long to actually do that. But again, I don't watch this show, so I don't really have context. But these nerds who are crying a foul that this is the worst thing ever, that their show is now ruined, and their whole fandom is just fucking... you fucking nerds need to get over it. Sometimes, like, I fail to understand how, you know, we all like nerdy shit together. All of us do. I, for instance, took a 35-minute break just now to go play the Destiny beta, because I went past 1 o'clock, which I already knew I was going to do, but I couldn't stop myself. So I postponed the podcast for 35 minutes to go do that dumb shit. And now I'm back. So, we all like nerdy things. And I just don't get these guys who get so fucking, like, they get their balls all twisted when girls are introduced into something they like. Girls are nerds too, bro. Yeah, there's some girls out there who try to get extra attention because if they know that being a girl in this community is gonna get them attention, first of all, especially, and excuse me for saying this, especially if they're attractive, they're gonna get that extra attention. We all seen it online. It's all happened. You've all been in a game where you're all playing, and all of a sudden, after like a couple minutes, you hear a girl's voice, and all of a sudden you hear, the girl, like it's some kind of fucking, it's like the goddamn a lost treasure or something they just found. It's like, oh my god, there's a girl in here. I don't know. You've all run into that situation. And I think I lost my train of thought here, because that's happened to me a few times where I've heard guys like get extra like, oh, let me help you here. Let me take you to this ammo. Let me take you to this thing. And it's happened. Damn, if I didn't lose my train of thought. Shit. Wow. That's terrible. I just completely lost what I was going to say. But, so you've all been in situations where girls have been introduced into your world, your quote-unquote your world. But you have to understand that there are girl nerds. Like, they do exist. It's not a fucking unicorn. And yes, as I was saying, which I realize where I was going, there are girls out there who try to use the fact that they are women to get extra attention in the community. You've seen the gamer girls who take the pictures, but like half the pictures is tits, and then it's like the controller's in the corner of the picture, and all the tits are like up in the camera, and it's like, oh, how do you like my controller? Shit like that you've seen. But guess what? There's guys who do that same shit. They may not, take pictures with their balls out, but there's definitely guys out there who get into those communities to try to get attention. There's always going to be people like that everywhere. But not every girl is coming into your geek culture to take shit over or to get extra attention. They're just geeks, or they're just nerds, and they like things. They like Doctor Who, they like Nintendo, they like Xbox, they like Sony, they like video games, they like anime, they like all kinds of shit. And that's okay. You don't have to fucking get your shit all twisted up and feel some type of way because there's now girls in your little hobby. Like, I don't fucking understand why we're still having this conversation. And my next couple of stories are kind of, they get a little more serious, but it's almost in the same thing. Like, women, they're treated like fucking shit, man. It's true. Like, women fans in geek culture are treated like trash. And this whole thing is just like it's ugly when you see, like, I saw that article and the first thing I thought about was my sister, how my sister felt about it, because my sister loves Doctor Who. Yes, she's a nerd. She's a huge fucking nerd, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I called her a nerd, I guess, when I started this segment. That's funny. So that's the first thing I thought of was my sister, and I was like, I wonder how she feels about the fact that there's a woman doctor. And then I saw her reactions online, and it was cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. You get to see it from a different perspective and shit. How girls feel about it, because there are a lot of girl fans out there who watch it, but they kind of, well, my sister's not one of those who doesn't remain vocal, because she shares so much Doctor Who shit on social media. She retweets and reblogs like everything she sees, Supernatural, Doctor Who, all that shit. So she doesn't keep it quiet. But there are some girls who keep it quiet for that reason, because they get shit on Because it's like this is another thing that guys do. Like when a girl says that she likes something nerdy, they instantly have to get quizzed about it. Why the fuck are you quizzing her and grilling her about her fandom? Like, oh, really? Oh, so when did you start watching Game of Thrones? And what season? Oh, yeah. What the fuck? When did you start watching? Like, I don't understand why you gotta grill women about their fandom. Like, that shit it's just not cool. So this whole thing, I wish her the best of luck. I hope she does great. I might even give the extra ratings and watch this, because I just at least the first episode, just so I can see, what the deal is. I'm not gonna watch that show because I really don't have any desire to, but I think it's cool that they cast a woman as the Doctor. It's an iconic character, and for them to change up the status quo is pretty cool. I don't see a problem. Why all these nerds decided to go out there and lose their fucking mind over this thing, I have no idea, but fuck them. That's what I say. And that's my hot take for the day. Fuck the nerds. Fucking bunch of assholes. So, with that being said, I want to move on to another story that I saw yesterday. And this is a story about a Saudi Arabian woman. She's a singer / model. And her name is Khalud. Now, she was arrested in Najid for walking around in a miniskirt and posting videos of it on Snapchat. So, this woman was walking around in a black miniskirt and a crop top with her midriff exposed, and it caused outrage in the region. She was promptly arrested, and it was feared that she was going to have to serve jail time and or be flogged publicly because of this. Now, the village that she was in, which is, forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, is Yushhaiger. It's the northeast capital city of Riyadh, and it's extremely conservative. And her dress, what she was wearing, is a breach of Saudi law. These women in the area are supposed to wear abayas, from head to toe, and they're supposed to wear a cloak over their face if they're Muslim, on top of wearing this abaya. It turns out that she was released without charge, and said she had no knowledge of the videos being uploaded. That seems to be one of the bigger issues with this situation, as far as her and being arrested. Okay, so my thoughts on this thing, I have several thoughts on this. Number one, you need to fucking move out of Saudi Arabia if you want to be walking around doing that bullshit. Because as ignorant as I think, ignorant, is that the right word? As archaic as I think those laws and beliefs are, those are the laws of the state where you live. Whether they're right or wrong, that's what, that is what the main belief is over there. That is what is followed by, I would assume, 95% of the population there. Is it right? I don't agree with it. Is it, is it up to date with the times and how things are now? Absolutely not. But that's what is, that is Saudi law. So this woman decided to break the law, and, as stupid as it sounds, wear a miniskirt and walk around in public. People were outraged at this shit. And I think, to be honest with you, she was released. She needs to get the fuck out of there, because she's gonna get killed. Somebody is gonna go after this woman, and they're definitely gonna try to make an example out of her, because it's happened before. If you want to change how things are in your area, she could be seen as a pioneer. I don't know what the purpose of her trying to do this was. I don't know if she was just trying to make Snapchats, or if she's, because I didn't get all the information, if she's actually from there I'm assuming she's from there, but if she's from there, she should know what's popping with the laws, and you would think that this was done purposely for a reason. I don't know what the reason could have been. Maybe she's just trying to make change over there, but she needs to be very careful about where she goes now and who knows her whereabouts and all that, because them dudes out there are wild for the night. Like, those dudes have wild thoughts and they go after people with reckless abandon, and they've killed women before. These guys, there was a story I read a couple years ago, and I don't know if it was in the same place, but it's the same region. Some dude killed his sister over some shit like this. His sister, yo. So, if you wanna, be a like a force for change, I applaud that. But I don't know if you wanna do it that way. Because she's very brave to do this thing, but I really think you got to chill. Okay, if you want to go ahead and be a social justice warrior, you do it in a way where you're safe. Because I'm afraid for this woman. I hope to God nothing happens to her, but that story was wild. It was cool that they released her with no charges, but when I heard that, I was like, damn, she needs to watch the fuck out. With that being said, I want to go ahead and take my final break. I promise I will not go play Destiny. I'm going to come right back, but I want to finish this up with my last topic and let you guys go, because we're over an hour now and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Everything Podcast, and I will be coming right back at you in 2 seconds.
Purchase your tracks today.
This is the Everything Podcast, the most non-PC podcast of the PC era. Hey Lou, would you kindly drop a bomb on him?
Yes, this is the Everything Podcast, and finally, ladies and gentlemen, if I can get serious here for a minute, I would like to talk to you today about a man who I was a big fan of, and I say was because I just can't support this person anymore, and you shouldn't either. I'm talking about Robert Kelly, aka R. Kelly, the Pied Piper of R&B, which, if you even think about that moniker after this story, it just kind of makes you sick to your stomach. So, R. Kelly's apparently running a cult, and I had no idea. I should have written R. Kelly off a long time ago with the whole tape that he did with the underage girl where he was peeing on this 15-year-old girl and molesting her on camera, which is allegedly, of course, because he denies that it was him. And, this is probably the corniest thing I could ever say, but if that's not R. Kelly, then R. Kelly got a motherfucking clone out there, because that dude looked like R. Kelly. But he was never convicted of that, and I can say allegedly all day, even though, to be honest with you, I know that he did that shit. So, in any event, BuzzFeed on Monday, which was yesterday, I'm sorry, it was 2 days ago, BuzzFeed published an article that claims that R. Kelly is holding women captive in several Chicago and Atlanta compounds. This motherfucker has more than one location where he's allegedly holding women against their will. Up and coming artists, women who flocked to him for whatever reason, to try to get famous or to try to get a deal, or because they were promised, some kind of, either whether it be monetary or career-wise, they were offered something, and they just went with R. Kelly to wherever he told them to go. And apparently now it's being said that he's holding these women against their will, allegedly. The article claims that an artist, Jocelyn Savage's family, believes that Kelly's running a sex cult, which women are not allowed to contact their families. This article also states that these women, it claims, I have to be very careful how I word this, because this is all alleged. He denies it all, obviously. This article also claims that women are not allowed to wear revealing clothing or look at other men when he's in the room. Kelly denies this whole thing, and Jocelyn Savage made a video with, she was interviewed by somebody on TMZ, some reporter, and she sat there and did a video with him. Now, I'm not any kind of expert or anything, but this to me, this video, and I highly recommend you check it out. This looks like a hostage video to me, if I've ever seen one, and I ain't seen too many hostage videos, but this girl is in this video refuting all these claims. But if you watch the video, you can see, first of all, there seems to be a shadow, and this might be looking at it a little too hard because I watched it like 4 or 5 times. She seems to have a shadow over her left shoulder, which would indicate that there's someone standing behind the cameraman coaching her. And there's also a few instances where the reporter asks her a direct question like, "Are you free to leave here?" And you can see her look up away from the camera and look back and say, "I don't want to answer that." So she's being coached. And this video's a little uncomfortable to watch. I'm going to play the video here so you can hear the audio. If you want to catch the video, maybe I'll share it online, but it's a little disturbing. So I want to go ahead and play this thing. This is from TMZ.
I'm 21. I'm about to be 22.
Oh, crap. I'm sorry. Alright, that crapped out on me for some reason. Alright, so again, this is Jocelyn Savage, whose family is the one who basically started this whole thing. And they're saying that she's being held hostage. She refutes those claims and says that she's just fine. But this video is it's a weird video.
I'm 21. I'm about to be 22 in about 5 days. And I just mainly want to say that I'm in a happy place with my life, and I'm not being brainwashed or anything like that. It just came to a point where it definitely has got out of hand. So, I just want everybody to know, my parents and everybody in the world, that I am totally fine. I'm happy where I'm at, and everything is okay with me.
So you are not being held against your will or doing anything that you do not want to do?
Oh, no.
Right there, she looks away.
Never been feeling hostage.
She looks right at the person behind the camera.
Never.
So why is it now that your family's coming forward and saying this, and they've asked for a welfare check and everything like that? Why do you think now?
There she looks away again.
I personally, I don't really know what's going on with that, so I wouldn't want to answer that at this moment. The last time I spoke to my parents may have been about a good on and off for about a good 6-5 months. I haven't really spoken to them because of everything they've been causing problems in my life, about saying I've been hostage and being held against my will and stuff like that. Because I'm very heartbroken of what's going on with this situation, because it's getting to a point where it's getting too much out of hand. Me having to deal with this and me being 22 is just, it's just not right. So I haven't spoken to them mainly in about 5 to 6 months, really. Okay. On and off.
Now check this out.
I mean, they'll, text me from time to time, but I haven't really wanted to speak to them because of what they're doing.
Listen to this question.
Are you currently in Georgia, or where are you?
I'm not. I wouldn't want to speak on that as well.
Are you with other roommates? Are you free to go from where you are?
No, I want to speak on that as well.
Boom. And she looked right off camera when she said that shit. So that's Jocelyn Savage, 22-year-old up and coming artist whose parents took her to an R. Kelly concert, and they had her demo. They played the demo for him. He loved it. And then he said, I want to take you to my compound, my lab. I want to listen to this. I want people to listen to this with you. Let's go. And her parents okayed that shit. They were like, yep, cool. This 50-year-old man, go ahead and take my 22-year-old daughter, which, you know, they were looking at him through the it's R. Kelly. Like, he's famous, he's a singer, he makes great songs. You know, whether or not they were bothered by the whole original sex tape thing, they just kind of went with it. And apparently, you know, in doing some digging, there's been a lot of weird shit going on with R. Kelly anyway. Like, he's running supposedly he's in some kind of fight club. That happened years ago. There was another thing that I read that said he would be in a room with these women, and if someone comes in, the women have to immediately get up and face the wall and stand there and not look at whoever it is that came in the room. Now, that shit is wild. I'm not even gonna play the Wild Thoughts drop for that, because that shit ain't even funny. You know, so she made this video. And it's not a good look. You know, she seems to not be in her right mind. And again, I'm just going off of video and off of stuff. But my main point is this. I'm done with R. Kelly. I'm deleting everything R. Kelly related off my Spotify. I'm not supporting that man in any way. I'm not giving him $1 of my money. I want to see this man prosecuted and thrown in jail if all this shit is true. If all this alleged bullshit is true. And you should not be supporting this man either. We should have already fucking threw this guy. We should have got this guy the fuck out of here with the whole sex tape. What the hell is a 50-year-old man what is he doing with a 22-year-old girl? Like, first of all, he came out with a statement, and he said he used all the words that people use when they have their lawyer put out a statement, like all these allegations against me are false. I wholeheartedly refuse all these claims, and yada yada yada. That's like such a fucking. This wasn't even like a legit answer. He can't just immediately come. Like, why can't you just come out with whatever girl you have there and be like, yo, I'm here with this girl. We're just trying to make some music. Yo, bounce, leave, go ahead. You need to go home. You need to go home with your parents and stay with them as long as you need to. And then whenever you want to come back and we do this music thing, we do it. Because why can't you just do something like that instead of just putting out a statement through your lawyer, but yet this girl's still with you? And these other girls, there were some other girls who, there's 5 other girls who supposedly got away. And they're saying wild shit that's happened when they were with him. Stuff like they were running trains and different men coming in and out, and there's videotapes, and it's just, listen, I'm done with R. Kelly. It's over. No more R. Kelly. No more I Believe I Can Fly. No more Pied Pipe of R&B. No more. I can't support this dude. I can't deal with it. I'm done completely with R. Kelly. This guy needs to be prosecuted. That is it. I don't want to. I'm done. I'm washing my hands of that shit. I just can't. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this podcast on that note. It's kind of a little bit of a sour note to end on. But just thank you to all of you for tuning into the podcast. I promise to keep trying to bring you the best content that I can. You guys mean the world to me. You guys are everything. I thank you for all your support. You guys are the bomb. If you enjoy this podcast, I urge you to please rate me on iTunes, whatever you feel I deserve, whether it's 1 star, whether it's 5 stars. If you could write a little blurb on there so people can see it and understand that this is what the show is basically about. It'll help someone get a better idea of what it is they may or may not want to listen to. I'm sorry, I'm like getting tongue tied because I'm super excited right now that I'm gonna go get to play Destiny for the next 2 to 3 hours unhinged. But guys, seriously, if you can rate me on iTunes or whatever app or podcast service you're using to stream the show, I would really appreciate it. Just throw me some stars, write a little blurb if you can. It helps all of us. If you listen to any podcast, try to do that. After you're done listening to a couple episodes, just go ahead and throw them a review. Give them a 3 or 4 or 5 star review. Let them know what it is that you like. It just helps the show grow, and it helps the shows get attention. So if you could do that, that'd be great. Guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am Lou from the BX. If you want to follow the Everything Podcast page, it's The E Podcast Show. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's The Everything Podcast. Facebook is the same thing, The Everything Podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. I would like to thank you all very much for tuning in. And, well, that's it. The show's over, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace and love.